Chapter 91 Sound Hidden Village. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Dream space, water escape, water wave. Xiaomu opened his mouth and spat out, and a stream of water shot out like a water gun, making a huge hole in the ground. Xiaomu wiped her mouth, but the water wave was still much worse than the water break wave. The second Hokage Tobirama used water break wave, which was like a high-pressure water jet, cutting wherever it was sprayed. Natsuki likes it very much, but even if he obtains the water attribute affinity, it is not that easy to learn Shuzanbo. I am still far behind. Natsuki continued to form seals, water escape, water formation wall. Boom! A wall of water immediately burst out of the ground in front of Xiaomu. Xiaomu frowned. It seemed that the water formation wall didn't have much effect, even worse than his own Susanoo. The second Hokage Tobirama can use the water formation wall to surround him. Now I can only use it at best, but it is far from being able to apply it flexibly. Xiaomu quickly exited the dream space without continuing to practice. Yesterday, I received news from Itachi that he had successfully brought Kosajugo back to the Oto ninja village. Orochimaru has already figured out the problem of Itachi and Shirsui's Sharingan. The study of Hashirama's cells still requires more experiments. However, it requires consuming a lot of precious materials and a huge amount of money. Xiaomu has no shortage of money, but there are some things that are hard to buy with money. According to the small country of Konoha village and Tiano country, it would take a long time to gather the materials. Xiaomu had no choice but to speed up and lead a few people on their way to Tian country, Sound Ninja Village. The white-haired, muscular Jiraiya arrived at the entrance of the village. Now Oto Ninja Village has become the strongest ninja village among the 5 great ninja villages because of the addition of Uchiha, and the efficiency of completing tasks is very high. After the development of Oto Ninja Village, it was not as shabby as when Itachi and Shirsui first arrived. Jiraiya saw many people coming in and out of the mission hall on the way, some coming to entrust missions, and some ninjas from Oto Ninja Village taking missions. Among them, Jiraiya also saw a few Uchiha people. But the Uchiha people did not say hello when they saw Jiraiya passing by, but were minding their own business. Jiraiya was surprised to see Uchiha Takuya, the third elder of Uchiha. In the mission hall, they had met before. "Isn't this Lord Jiraiya? What kind of wind brought you here?" Uchiha Takuya handed over the matter in hand to his assistant and greeted Jiraiya. Jiraiya looked around. "Find a place." Takuya naturally understood what he meant and immediately took Jiraiya to a secluded room. Itachi and Shirsui rebelled against the village. Jiraiya asked in a deep voice as soon as he sat down. Takuya's face was full of surprise. "Jiraiya-sama, why did you say this?" "We are just here to take on tasks to make a living." Jiraiya frowned. "Isn't it the same as accepting missions in Konoha?" Takuya chuckled. No matter what we do in Konoha, we are stared at, and our eyes are easily gouged. Although this is a small ninja village, it is free and comfortable. Jiraiya was speechless for a moment. Everyone knew that Danzo dug out Uchiha's eyes. Uchiha Takuya used this as an excuse. He had nothing to say. He understood what Uchiha Takuya meant, which was that he had suffered too much discrimination in Konoha. Jiraiya sighed. Whether these Uchiha were outside or still in the village, they might already be planning a rebellion. "Is Orochimaru here?" Jiraiya asked directly. Takuya looked erratic. "I don't know, I'm just here to make a living. If you want to find Orochimaru, you can just leave the mission." From the look on Takuya's face, Jiraiya knew that Takuya had news about Orochimaru, but he would definitely not tell him in vain. Jiraiya made an estimate and took out 100,000 taels. "Then I will give 100,000 taels and leave a mission to find Orochimaru." Takuya raised his head and glanced at Jiraiya. It seemed that Jiraiya was really determined to find Orochimaru. "Okay, I'll go and issue the mission right now. Jiraiya-sama can eat more delicious food nearby. The results will be available in 3 days at the latest." Jiraiya nodded, and Takuya probably went to ask Orochimaru if he wanted to see him. When Takuya was about to go out, he leaned against the door and said, "By the way, Jiraiya-sama, our bathhouse has a ceiling barrier." Jiraiya's face suddenly darkened. Orochimaru is different from the original time and space. Now Orochimaru is busy doing research every day and is overwhelmed with various topics. He did not join the Akatsuki organization, nor did he have any plans to collapse Konoha. He no longer cared about the third Hokage's impression of him. After all, he had more important things to do. He had long forgotten what happened to Konoha in the past. Takuya took Jiraiya's money and went directly to ask for Orochimaru, the current management of Oto Ninja Village. The third elder Uchiha Taku also contributes a lot, so even though Orochimaru was very busy, he still found time to see him. Lord Orochimaru, Jiraiya has come to find you. He has paid 100,000 taels to offer a reward for information about you. He is now near the Sound Ninja Village. Oh. Orochimaru was very surprised. Jiraiya actually didn't cry out to kill him. Does this money offer for a reward mean that he is not prepared to use force? It seems there has been some change. Orochimaru has never paid much attention to things in Konoha. He was worried about not being able to find those special drugs in several studies, so Jiraiya came. Orochimaru thought for a moment, and the corners of his mouth curved. After Tian Jigua's strong support, the Chinese food store has indeed made money. Otonin Village is expanding every year and now has a very mature commercial street. Many people who completed the mission went to the streets of Sound Ninja Village to spend money, buy things, and eat, which promoted the development of Sound Ninja Village. The more people there are in the commercial street, some simply choose to release tasks in the Sound Ninja Village, which promotes each other and creates a virtuous cycle. Jiraiya found a hotel, and after visiting the night market in the evening, he came back with a lot of barbecue and wine, eating skewers and drinking some wine. So chic and happy, Jiraiya had to admit that these delicacies were really delicious. Jiraiya was eating when his expression suddenly changed and he looked towards the door. Orochimaru lifted the curtain and walked in. Orochimaru sat across from Jiraiya, and neither of them spoke for a while. Jiraiya looked at Orochimaru. He always felt that there was something wrong with Orochimaru, but he couldn't explain it. There was a sense of disobedience that always lingered. In fact, it's because Orochimaru has been reincarnated, and his current body is not his original body. Jiraiya, who had been his teammate for many years and often practiced senjutsu, naturally felt a little inconsistent. In the past few years, Orochimaru has basically not fought much. He is busy with experiments every day. His ruthless temperament has dissipated a lot, and he has become a bit bookish. Chapter 92 An Encounter in Tang Country. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It was Jiraiya who spoke first. Orochimaru, you founded the village of Otogakure. Orochimaru chuckled lightly. It's just a cooperative relationship. I'm already here. You're not planning to talk to me about old times, are you? That when Jiraiya saw Orochimaru, he felt very strange. After not seeing each other for several years, Orochimaru seemed to be a completely different person. Orochimaru was not so easy to talk to before. Did Danzo do the kidnapping of the baby in the village? Jiraiya asked in a deep voice. What's the point of saying this now? So what if it is? So what if it's not? Orochimaru didn't answer directly, but his attitude was really nonchalant. Jiraiya said seriously, this is very important. Orochimaru watched Jiraiya keep staring at him. For a long time, he said one word, yes. Jiraiya seemed to be relieved and said a little puzzled, why don't you explain to the old man? Orochimaru chuckled, why should I explain? I am Danzo's accomplice. That's no problem. Jiraiya sighed, why do it have to be like this? Orochimaru was furious when he heard this and slapped his hand on the table, causing the cup on the table to jump hard. Why can't you choose me to be the fourth Hokage? Why do you have to choose Minato? This matter has always been a thorn in Orochimaru's heart. When Jiraiya mentioned it, Orochimaru felt unhappy. The old man had his own considerations at the time. Jiraiya said solemnly. Orochimaru snorted and seemed to calm down. What's the point of talking about it now? If I don't have anything else to do, I'll leave. After saying that, he stood up and prepared to leave. Wait a minute, Jiraiya said. The old man said, it doesn't matter whether you come back or not. After Jiraiya said what he said, Orochimaru said nothing, paused for a long time, and then walked to the gate without turning his head. The old man has aged a lot recently. Jiraiya couldn't help but said again. Orochimaru stopped and turned his back to Jiraiya and said, "My experiment recently needs some precious medicinal materials, deer heart grass, red sand vine and..." Orochimaru reported several precious medicinal materials, all of which happened to be some of the specialties of the Konoha ninja clan. These are very precious to the outside world because they are not sold to the outside world, but with the energy of the Hokage, they can still be obtained. Jiraiya thought arrogantly that Orochimaru was giving the third generation a step up. He excitedly patted his chest. "Don't worry, Orochimaru, I can find a way to get it." Jiraiya was a little excited. He suddenly thought of something. "Orochimaru, please wait." Orochimaru didn't turn around. "What else is there?" Jiraiya bit his finger and broke the seal. Psychic art. Bang, a red toad appeared on the ground. "I'll leave this communication frog with you first. I'll let you know when everything is ready. Up to you." Without looking back, Orochimaru left with a smile on his lips. The kingdom of Yu and the kingdom of Tian are bordered, and Natsuki Uchiha is preparing to enter the kingdom of Tian directly from the kingdom of Tang. This is a famous tourist country, and various hot springs can be seen everywhere. Most of the ordinary springs and boiling springs are turned into hot spring hotels. There are also fountains and geysers, which add many attractions to the country and make it a good place for leisure, travel and relaxation. Natsuki and his party set foot on the country of Yu and entered the town, only to find that there were not as many tourists here as rumored. On the contrary, there are fewer people and it is very depressed. Occasionally some ninjas hurried past. After Xiaomu inquired about it, he found out that an evil sect had appeared in the kingdom of Tang and spread its religion everywhere. The evil sects killed people wantonly for the purpose of entertaining the evil god. Tangin village was originally a village keen on pacifism, but because of its rich natural resources, it was targeted by the evil god cult. Many ninjas in Yuin village were brainwashed and became the lackeys of the evil god. However, Yunakuni has gone to the neighboring Sound Ninja village for help, and the Sound Ninja village has sent Uchiha people. Natsuki suddenly thought, could this be the hometown of the murderous demon Hidan? Now that the Sound Ninja village has risen, Uchiha directly seeks help from the Sound Ninja village. When Natsuki first looked at the map, he expressed that he didn't understand where Pain received the commission from the country of Yu. To get to the Rain Ninja village from the country of Yu, you either have to cross most of the country of fire, or you need to pass through the country of fields, the country of iron, the country of Taki, the country of grass, and finally you can reach the country of rain. It is estimated that Pain received it while walking outside. There was a sound of crying in the distance. Xiaomu and his friends walked forward and found a man hanging from a tree in a strange way. The body was bloody, and a large amount of blood flowed to the ground to form a small pit. There was also a triangular circle pattern on the ground nearby. A woman was crying on the ground, and her husband was hanging there. The trees were tall, and it was obvious that she, an ordinary person, could not put the corpse down. Natsuki's face darkened slightly, and he winked at Kimimaro next to him. Kimimaro nodded, broke the hanging rope with a shuriken, jumped up on the ground and caught the fallen body. There were sounds of fighting in the distance and smoke rising. Xiaomu instantly turned his head and ordered, "Don't move around here, I'll go over and take a look." In the woods. "How dare you disrespect Lord Evil God? Hey!" Hidan jumped out of the fireball with a fierce attitude. Uchiha Yaoya frowned and actually passed through the fireball. Hidan had burning wounds on his body and was swinging his scythe violently. Yao Yi used his sword to block it successfully, but Hidan's scythe was too big, and the spikes on it still caused a small cut on Yaoya's arm. Yaoya took advantage of the moment Hidan's weapon bounced up and slit Hidan's throat with a knife. Hidan's body suddenly stiffened and he fell to the ground. Yao Yi frowned. Could it be solved so easily? Sure enough, there was a noise behind him. Yao Yi turned his head and found that Hidan, who had a huge gap in his neck, had stood up. "Oh, it hurts so much." Hidan's throat leaked, and he spoke incomprehensible words. Yao Yi was shocked. How could he not be dead? What kind of technique is this? Yao Yi stood on guard. Hidan shouted wildly, "I'll give you God's sanction." That he stepped on his own blood and quickly drew a circle and triangle. Yao Yi directly threw 5 shurikens. Dodo dodo. The sound of continuous shurikens being shot into flesh. Ah, ah, ah. Hidan called back, not leaving the circle on the ground. he showed a sinister expression. Punish you. His hand quickly touched the sickle and he was about to put it into his mouth. A quick figure flashed past, bringing with it a shining sword light. Hidan only had time to put the sickle upright in front of him. Choke. The sickle and his neck were cut off instantly. Hidan's head was thrown high and then fell to the ground. A familiar figure appeared in front of Yao Yi. Lord Xiaomu. Yao Ye's face was ecstatic. He followed Itachi and the others out and had not seen the deputy clan leader for several years. Scream. Xiaomu slapped Yao Yi on the head, causing Yao Yi to stagger. Why don't you interrupt the forward swing of the spell? Xiaomu said with hatred. Chapter 93 Hidan-chan. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the woods of Yuno country. What is, casting forward? Yao Yi was slapped and was a little confused. At this time, Hidan on the ground opened his eyes and started howling crazily. It hurts. You bastard, how dare you interrupt the evil god's ritual? You deserve death. Aren't you going to die now? Uchiha Yaoye was startled. It was very strange for a human head to speak. Ha ha ha, this is all a gift from the evil god. I am immortal. Immortal. Even if there is only one head left. I will crawl over and bite your throat out. Xiaomu had no expression on his face, took out a kunai and threw it out with all his strength. The kunai was inserted directly into Hidan's mouth, destroying his tongue as well, and Hidan could only make whining sounds now. Xiaomu turned around and said to Yao Yi, look at the pattern under his feet. His sickle has picked up your blood. He just needs to lick the blood into his mouth. Just stand there and it will be connected to your life. If he stabs himself in the heart, you will die here. Yao Yi was shocked, and now he realized that he had walked through the gate of hell. You clearly saw him drawing patterns on the ground and would rather be shot by your shuriken than leave the circle. Why didn't you interrupt him? Natsuki was very angry, almost losing this silly Uchiha. Yao Yi lowered his head. I'm sorry, Sir Xiaomu. Forget it. Xiaomu was angry, so forget it. After all, he was a prophet, so he knew Hidan's methods. Others didn't know, so it was human nature to be cautious and not step forward. Are you here for the mission of the evil god cult? Yao Yi nodded and said, yes, Sir Natsuki, this evil sect suddenly appeared in Tang country recently. There are still some people who cannot be killed at all, so we asked the Sound Ninja village for help, and we came here. How many of you are coming? Who is leading the team? Sir, there are 6 of us, they are the Jishui team. I, Jishui, have already wiped out 3 strongholds. I went out to explore the strongholds and met this person. Yao Yi answered respectfully, in such a small country, the abilities of ninjas are uneven, and most of them have not received systematic training. He was so weak that he couldn't even defeat the genin of Konoha, let alone the elite of the Uchiha clan, so 6 people came over, led by Jisui, who already looked up to these heretics. Natsuki glanced over and saw that Hidan was still mumbling something. But a person with a severed tongue couldn't make a complete sound at all, in the entire Akatsuki organization. Natsuki hated Hidan the most, but it wasn't because he was not smart, it's because everyone else kills for their own purposes, but Hidan kills to please the evil god, and he continues to preach in the hope that more people will join the church. Although Hidan is currently the only immortal finished product, it is difficult to say whether a second Hidan will be born in the future. This pure murderous cult must be destroyed. Natsuki was initially planning to take Hidan's head back to Orochimaru for research, but after thinking about it, it was too disgusting, or just dig a hole and bury him, out of sight. Natsuki's Sharingan eyes rotated violently, splitting into Mangekyo Sharingan, and a huge Susanoo was projected out instantly. Yao Yi looked at Natsuki's tens of meters tall Susan with a shocked expression. This is the power of Lord Natsuki's god. In the distance, Uchiha Shirsui and his party looked up and saw the huge Susanoo in the forest in the distance. It's Natsuki-senpai. Let's go. Shirsui looked excited. He hadn't seen Senior Natsuki for many years, but he didn't expect to meet him here. Kisame and others in the distance also moved closer after seeing Susanoo appear. Boom! There was a huge roar. Natsuki Susanna punched Hidan's head and made a deep hole in the ground. Xiaomu looked around and saw that the pit was a mess of blood and flesh, and there was no sound anymore. Natsuki is very curious, now that Hidan has smashed you into Hidan-chan, can you be resurrected? Natsuki Susanoo pulled out his arm, swept left and right, and buried Hidan-chan in the ground. Boom! Natsuki followed suit, smashing Hidan's body into a pulp and making another hole for him to sweep into. Yayi looked on in shock. Sir Xiaomu was so cruel. There was a swishing sound. Shisui and the others arrived first, followed by Kisame and the others. Natsuki saw that both parts of Hidan's body were beaten into pieces and buried, so he dismissed Susanoo. Shisui was nervous when he saw Kisame and others appearing. Because Kisame and Kurita Kyoko are Kirigakure's costumes, but Natsuki quickly fell in front of Shisui. Don't be nervous, we are one of our own. Natsuki's words made Shisui and others put down their guard. Why did you come out to perform the mission? Has your problem been solved? Xiaomu asked. Shisui nodded. Master Orochimaru has made a stabilizing potion for us. There is no problem with light use. Natsuki nodded and didn't say much. It would be clear when he went back to find Orochimaru. Xiaomu introduced everyone's names and didn't say much else, but Uchiha Shisui's name was well known in Kirigakure, and Kisame's shark eyes would occasionally turn to look at Shisui. Natsuki saw it and smiled inwardly. Ever since Kisame got the Samahata, his strength has been growing every day, but he was always on the road, and there were little thieves on the road, so he basically had no chance to do anything. Now seeing Uchiha Shisui, he was naturally ready to make a move. Complete the mission first, and then return to the Sound Ninja Village immediately. Natsuki ignored Kisame and completed the task first. Shisui reported that they had wiped out 3 strongholds of the evil god cult one after another. Some of these evil god cultists would modify their bodies, it increased their strength and had no pain. Apart from causing some trouble for them at first, they did not form any decent resistance later. They have already discovered that the headquarters of the evil god cult is in a cave in the northwest. It seems that Hidan is the only successful experimental subject, and others cannot curse others like Hidan. In order to save time, as they rush to their destination, Xiaomu said, "This evil sect has a spell that can take your blood and use your blood to kill you, so be careful not to get hurt. If you see someone drawing a magic circle at your feet, you must destroy the magic circle or throw him out of the range of the magic circle. There may be other undead who can still move after their limbs have been chopped off." Several Uchiha listened with solemn expressions. The few branches they destroyed before only had some simple body modifications. Didn't they expect that the evil god cult still has these abilities? Ninjas have high attack and low defense. If they are not careful, they can easily fall into the gutter. This information about Natsuki is very important. Several people quickly arrived at the entrance of the cave, and there were 2 guards at the door. Shisui jumped down, his eyes widened, and the 2 guards fell to the ground. Then several people filed in. Natsuki raised his head and glanced at Kisame Kisaki, who was about to move. "You should go help too, Kisame." Kisame laughed when he heard this. "Follow your orders, boss." Kisame walked in following Shisui and the others. "Just wait for us at the door. It will be over soon." The remaining 3 people, Shiro and Kurita Kyoko, didn't like fighting. Kimimaro was forbidden from fighting by Natsuki, so he left them all outside. Natsuki also wanted to see what level Kisame was now, so he slowly followed him into the cave. Chapter 94 Big Explosion Water Wave. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the kingdom of Tang, the cave of the evil god cult, there were not many torches in the cave and there was no light, but under Xiaomu's eyes, he could still see clearly. Natsuki strolled inside. There were many evil cultists lying down along the way. Cultists of evil spirits are very easy to recognize, and everyone is dressed very fashionably. Hidan was wearing a down jacket, jeans, and marten boots. And these congregants are not bad, wearing various high-end boots, tight pants, and loose tops. Metal jewelry is hung in many places on the body. They were all so unique that Xiaomu thought she had returned to a fashionable city, but they were just a bit weak in strength. There were not many signs of fighting along the way, and they all lay on the ground. As long as it was a knife wound, it was basically from Uchiha's chop. If it was smashed into a bloody mess, it was from Daisame. You can vaguely see black or silver modification marks on some people. The passage was not very long, and there were some sounds of fighting ahead. Xiaomu walked in to take a look. There is a big pothole inside, and there is a high platform in front of the pothole. The high platform has been stained dark brown with blood, and broken limbs are everywhere. Xiaomu looked at it with his brows furrowed. This should be the place where they gather or offer sacrifices to evil gods. In the middle of the field, Shisui had already used his famous technique, the phantom teleportation technique. There were multiple figures of him in the field, and the evil cultists he killed were retreating steadily. The cultists of the evil god all acted like lunatics. When they were hit, they shouted, "Long live the evil god!" Then he rushes up and hugs you, letting his companion's sharp blade penetrate his body. Fortunately, Shisui was very good at the teleportation technique, and those disciples were not very strong. These low-level means of dying together are simply not possible, as all they hold on to are clones, and Kisame Kisaki had already loosened Samahada's bandage and used Samahada's flying chain chop. The hilt of Samahada's sword stretched out and curved like a chain, and Kisame threw it out like a meteor hammer. If you hit it, you will die. If you rub it, you will lie down. In the country of you, there are very few high-level ninjas. There are really not many masters of this so-called evil sect, and most of them are just fish. After Shisui and Kisame cleared away the miscellaneous soldiers, the remaining 4 people are considered slightly better. The man in the middle looked like he was in charge. He shouted wildly, "You blasphemers! The evil god will not let you go." Xiaomu stepped forward. "Oh. We are standing here, what can your evil god do to us?" The person in charge choked. Most of the people who came were from Uchiha. These subordinates he had recruited were absolutely no enemy of Uchiha. Hidan, the most perfect reformer, actually went out at this time. "Just wait. Hidan will come back and kill you all," Yaoyi said. "It's useless, give up, Hidan has already died in the hands of Natsuki-sama." "What? Impossible. I don't believe it." Seeing several people approaching, he said to the people around him, "It's time to be loyal to the evil god." The people around them seemed to be stunned and shouted, "Be loyal to the evil god." Several people jumped onto the high platform together, picked up the sword and inserted it into their own necks. They were not dead for a while. Juran also rotated the knife a little. For a moment, blood spurted out. The person in charge stood at the top and shouted, "Master evil god, these are gifts from the most devout believers." The bright red blood on the ground seemed to come alive, shining on the ground. "Ha ha 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 ha." The person in charge laughs wildly. After the ceremony is completed, he will have immortality. When the time comes, whether he is beheaded or his heart is dug out, he will not die. Xiaomu frowned and jumped up. While in the air, I found that the blood on the ground flowed into a triangle and a circle according to a specific groove. It was the rune that Hidan had drawn. The force seemed to be crossing the border from the void and condensing on the person at the front. Xiaomu snorted coldly. "Kisame. Wash away all the blood here." Kisame grinned, "Leave it to me, boss." He thrust Samahada behind him and formed seals quickly. "Water escape, big water blast." Puff. Turbulent water spurted out from Kisame's mouth. The sound of rumbling was like a dam bursting, rushing down like crazy. The water quickly rushed through the grooves on the ground. Not to mention the blood, all the corpses of the evil cultists rushed out of the channel together. The Uchiha members were all shocked, such a powerful water release. Jump up while treading water. However, something very embarrassing happened. Samahada sprayed water too fast and the water could not flow out at all. The passage was blocked by the corpses of the evil god cult, and the water level in the hall rose rapidly. Natsuki was speechless. Kisame really felt itchy after not fighting for so long. This small amount of water flow will not drown everyone, but it will always make everyone very embarrassed. Susanoo. Natsuki transformed into the Mangekyo Sharingan and summoned the giant Susanoo. With a roar, it broke through the mountain wall. When Kurita Kyoko heard the violent sound of water rising like a tidal wave, she knew that Brother Kisame must be escaping again. Only Brother Kisame's water release is so powerful, but isn't that the center of the mountain? Kurita Kyoko looked a little confused, and subconsciously grabbed Shiro's clothes in her hand. Boom! The sloping mountain wall suddenly exploded, immediately a large amount of water spurted out from the hole below. Kurita Kyoko jumped up, stepped on the water flow, and lifted Shiro up in her hand, and Kimimaro also jumped onto the big tree next to him quickly. A giant Susanoo poked out from inside, several Uchiha clan members jumped out next, and Shisui held an unconscious man in his hands. Kisame Kisaki was all wet and jumped out with Samahata in his arms. He grinned and said, "Sorry boss, I forgot the place is too small." Inkigaki Kisame said he was sorry, but he had no intention of apologizing at all. Natsuki didn't mind either. He knew that Kisame was informal, but he hadn't thought about it well after all. The water comes and goes quickly. It soon became smooth and everyone stepped onto the water. Natsuki scolded Uchiha, "If you don't interrupt him when you see him preparing his ultimate move, what are you doing?" Shisui rubbed his nose and said, "Senior Natsuki, don't be angry. I was the one who stopped them from getting on." Natsuki snorted, "Shisui was like this, I like to plan everything before I do anything, and I often miss a lot of opportunities." Shisui looked for a topic with some embarrassment. "Senior Natsuki, what should I do with this person?" Shisui threw the person in charge to the ground, and the ground that had just been washed by the water was covered with mud. He choked 2 mouthfuls of muddy water, and then immediately got up. He could not stop talking no matter how much he sat on the ground. "You actually interrupted the evil god's ritual. The evil god will definitely curse you." Natsuki glanced at him, and Shisui chopped off his head with a single blow. The amazing result was that, just like Hidan, this person was still alive even after his head fell off. "Ha ha ha ha, I am immortal. The evil god has favored me. I succeeded. I am immortal." Xiaomu looked at the leader of the evil god religion. He probably had lost his mind and didn't have the energy to study how to remove his immortality. He showed Susanoo and punched him hard. Boom. Mud and water splashed around, and if the people next to him hadn't ducked quickly, they would have been splashed all over themselves. The head that was still talking was smashed into pulp by a punch, and a big hole was made on the ground. Xiaomu frowned and punched the man again, turning the man's body into a ball of meat. Natsuki's Susan covered the 2 holes with a sweep of his hand from left to right. Natsuki dismissed Susanoo and ordered Shisui, go inside and blow up the floor of the hall to prevent future troubles. Shisui took the order and left. The eyes of the Uchiha next to him were full of longing for Susanoo. Boom. 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 With a series of detonating talisman sounds, Shisui jumped out of the hole. "Senior Natsuki, the ground was flattened by my blast." Xiaomu clapped his hands. "Okay, the mission is completed, let's go back." Chapter 95 Hyuga Family Meeting. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Konoha Village, Hyuga Clan Land, Conference Room. The head of the clan is full of strength, and the head of the branch family is of great strength, and other elders all sitting in a crowd. The 4th elder sat down on his knees with a calm expression, but no one spoke, and the atmosphere in the entire conference room was very dull and depressing. The elder coughed and said, "I think it's good for Uchiha to leave the guard force. Now our Hyuga family has completely controlled the guard force." Boom. Hinata Hizu slammed the table in a rare gesture. "Great elder. I didn't agree with this opening in the first place. Nearly all of the security force is from our Hyuga people, so we already have enough power. Those Uchiha people are here, and sometimes it's not convenient for us to come forward. Wouldn't it be good to let them help solve the problem? Now that their entire clan has separated, what's the use of those positions at the root? With the strong rise of Uchiha, they are now the most powerful family in the entire ninja world. If the Hyuga family is in the police force and encounters people with complicated backgrounds, it will be difficult for them to handle them. With the relationship between Hinata and Uchiha, it would be easy to solve the problem by asking Uchiha to help. Now, it's gone. All Uchiha left in an instant, not even the store. The great elder also felt bitter in his heart when he saw the furious Rizu. Indeed, Hinata and Uchiha had a good relationship before, regardless of whether the police asked for help, or on difficult tasks. The 2 clans worked together, which greatly improves the success rate. Because I was greedy for the honorary elder promised by Danzo, I was obsessed for a while and thought that it would not be a big deal to change my position in the team. As A result, the Uchiha reaction was particularly violent. The root members went there and they would rather not make money than open a store. The villagers were full of complaints. After the great elder felt that something was not good, he could only repeatedly ask the third-generation Hokage to redeem the honorary elder's promise. In the end, Sandai said that those were Danzo's private promises and did not count. As a result, the honorary elder did not get it, but only got the spot that was vacated after the roots quit. By the time we get here, the Hyuga family can actually stop their losses in time. As a result, Danzo actually found Kaito, the fourth elder. The fourth elder, Kaito, is a rare person who is dedicated to his family. He has a very indifferent view of the hierarchy of the clan and branch families. When supporting young children, no matter whether you are from the main family or a branch family, you will be treated equally. Although he is disabled, he still shines for the Hinata family. I didn't expect Kaito to do this, even though it was the elder who opened the door. The fourth elder, Kaito, spoke at this time. Chief, this incident is my fault alone and has nothing to do with the elder. Then the fourth elder took out a scroll and handed it to Hinata Hizu. Rizu took the scroll with some confusion, opened it and saw that it was actually a letter of appointment from an honorary elder, and the name is left blank. You didn't use the commission for yourself? The honorary elder is of no use to me. The clan leader can find a suitable person to take over. Hizu was a little surprised. He knew the contents of the deal between Kaito and Danzo, but he didn't expect Kaito to actually hand over the commission. When the other elders heard that Hyuga Kaito did not use the letter of appointment, they all cast different looks. Rizu put down the letter of appointment. Tell me about it. Over the years, Kaito has made conscientious contributions to the family. There must be a reason why he did this time. Kaito nodded, and then took out the investigation report on Uchiha earnings that Danzo gave him. Kaito also prepared multiple copies and distributed them to all the elders, whether it was the clan leader, Hayashi, or other elders. They all became commotion after seeing that the Uchiha clan had made such a huge profit. After everyone has an idea, Kaito then said, someone who has a good relationship with the Uchiha clan told me. The Uchiha clan doesn't have to do tasks at all now. The family will pay them regularly. They went to Konoha to take on tasks before, just to hone their skills and not make money from it at all. And Uchiha Natsuki also issued a reward order to encourage childbirth. The Uchiha clan will give out money even if they give birth to children at home. Kaito's words caused many Hinata elders to commotion. No wonder I rarely see people from the Uchiha clan taking missions. I thought Itachi had taken some of them away, but I didn't expect that they didn't have to do the mission. You are actually given a reward for giving birth to a child. Are Uchiha so rich? The reason why the Hyuga clan is a wealthy family is because of the powerful Byakugan. No matter which ninja war it is, the Hyuga family's Byakugan is always an unavoidable detection weapon, so whether it was the subsidy given by the village or Hinata going out to work as a mercenary, or accepting missions and asking for help, all of which made the Hyuga family earn enough money and fame. Let the Hyuga clan have a bit of thin noodles wherever they go. The Hyuga clan's clan separated structure gives the clan absolute control. It also makes Bai Yen Xian less likely to leak out, and there will be no traitors. But because of this, no matter how many military exploits the branch family obtains, it cannot obtain greater rights. The elders of the clan basically did not go to the battlefield, or they were always in the rear, and it was basically impossible to obtain military exploits. Therefore, the Hyuga family, which has a good reputation, is scarce in the powerful class. Apart from Hinata Rizu, there are no other honorary elders in the clan. Many clan elders dream of getting another honorary elder seat, so the great elder would make that opening. Seeing that everyone was listening carefully, Kaito continued his analysis. Because the family took over the position of the police force, the family is short of personnel. Everyone knows the days of Uchiha in the past, but now it's our Hyuga clan's turn. The security team has held back most of our manpower. Now we are unable to accept requests for mission assistance from many families. Many elders are now discovering that the family is in an embarrassing situation at this time. The great elder knocked on the table and said solemnly, "We anticipated this problem at the beginning, when we accepted the guard team." Rizu nodded and continued, "The situation was not serious at that time. This is a non-war period. It doesn't matter if we are short of personnel. As long as we survive these few years and wait for the new generation of clan members to take up their responsibilities, our Hyuga family will soon usher in a period of rapid development. All the elders looked at each other and agreed with Rizu's statement, but the information in their hands clearly told them that they would develop rapidly in a few years, that Uchiha will take off directly in a few years. I took Danzo's appointment as an honorary elder not for myself. It's not because of my disabled leg, I just want to gain greater rights for the family. In a few years, our Hyuga clan won't be left far behind. Hyuga Kaido said and touched his leg. To him, this thing could only be regarded as an addition to Danzo. He would agree to cooperate with or without him. Kaido's thinking was very clear, and everyone knew about the recovery of his leg. Unexpectedly, Kaido was not planning for his own broken leg, but for his family. The elders looked at each other and all agreed with Kaido's statement. Hinata Hizashi couldn't help but said, "Aren't you afraid that Uchiha Natsuki will come back to liquidate us?" That everyone shuddered when they thought of Xiaomu's power. The brain is good but the person is still strong. The third generation and Danzo had suffered a lot from him. If Natsuki came back, the Hyuga clan would not be able to bear his revenge. A smile appeared on Kaido's face. When I did this, I thought of multiple outcomes. 1. We got all the formulas smoothly. Then we can immediately cooperate with Lord Hokage and hand over the formulas to the daimyo of the Land of Fire. We can copy and do this business together. Even if Uchiha Natsuki comes back, there is nothing he can do. 2. I only got part of the formula. Uchiha will not suffer much loss. The clan only needs to execute me to complete the explanation to Uchiha. 3. We will be discovered immediately, so Uchiha has no losses, just push me out. No matter what happens, our Hyuga clan can get the position of honorary elder. All I have to pay for it is me, an old man who is living on his last breath. Clan leader, if the Uchiha clan needs an explanation, please execute me. Kaido looked calm, as if he had been ready to die early in the morning. All the elders also looked at Rizu. The elder opened his mouth slightly, but said nothing. Stealing people's wealth is like killing their parents. Especially in this world, leaking other people's secrets is a very serious matter. Hinata Hayashi stared at the letter of appointment in his hand and the Uchiha clan's income report for a long time. He raised his head. Let the Hyuga guard spread the news that all this was forced by Danzo. The fourth elder, Kaido, is deprived of his position as an elder and is confined to his home, pending further treatment. This appointment letter of honorary elder. Chapter 96 Arrival. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The country of fields. As I set foot on the land of Tian country, Xiaomu felt the atmosphere of prosperity. Along the way, both the water country and the Tang country were in ruins, and there were even fewer people on the road. Although I prepare a lot of food, there are times when I get tired of it. After setting foot on the land of Tian country, walking into a small town closest to the border, there are delicacies with the sign of Chinese food. Xiaomu entertained everyone while eating and drinking. While sighing from the bottom of my heart, I never thought that the catering training industry I worked in back then would one day play such a role. Let yourself have some taste of home in a different world. Although many tastes have changed slightly due to the problem of restricted materials, in a foreign country, what else do you need a bicycle? The development of Naruto's world is completely abnormal. Some places are technologically advanced and some are poor and backward. In terms of diet, not many people study it at all, so naturally there is no diet culture. What kind of delicacy from the previous life has not evolved over the years, but bringing it here is a complete dimensionality reduction blow. After the mission was completed, no one in Uchiha was in a hurry to go back. Everyone ate and drank along the way. It was the first time for several people in the Water Kingdom to eat such exotic food, and once they started, they couldn't stop at all. Kisame and Kurita Kyoko prefer spicy food, and they can't put it down because of the various skewered fragrant vegetables and other things on the road. Kimimaro and Shiro preferred sweets, and bought a lot of water chestnut cakes, mung bean cakes, and red bean cakes. Both of them were very happy, with rare smiles on their faces. Xiaomu also allowed them to eat and drink, and stopped and walked along the way. It took almost half a month to finally reach the Sound Ninja Village. The area of Oto Ninja Village has been expanding. There are also streets under construction nearby, and there are rows of merchants one after another. The more people who come here to entrust tasks, the more people naturally go to consume, forming a virtuous circle. Many of the ninjas who came and went were members of the Uchiha clan who had fled, and they were all very happy to see Natsuki. Natsuki-sama. Natsuki-sama. From time to time, people greeted Xiaomu. In the past few years since they came out, news from Konoha has continued to come. Everyone knows that since they left, although the Uchiha clan has separated from the center of power, everyone's life has been better. Many family members are still in Konoha, and with the psychic beasts, they can communicate with each other very quickly. Many people know that Uchiha is very rich now, and he does not have to work very hard to complete tasks. Especially recently, the Uchiha of Konoha are no longer taking missions in Konoha. All the missions from here are sent back for them to choose from. Uchiha no longer had to look at Konoha's face. Some families even have younger brothers for them, or their brothers get married and have children, and the clan also provides generous subsidies. All this is thanks to Xiaomu, so everyone respects Xiaomu from the bottom of their hearts. According to everyone's thoughts, Xiaomu should be the next clan leader. Everyone knew that Sir Xiaomu was busy, so they just said hello and left. First, Itachi soon came out to greet Natsuki. Senior Natsuki, long time no see. Over 4 years, Itachi had grown a lot taller, and it gradually overlapped with the image of Itachi in Natsuki's mind. All he needed was a fire cloud suit. Xiaomu shook his head to drive away the strange thoughts. Natsuki chuckled and slapped Itachi on the back. You're getting taller, Itachi. Thank you. Itachi was still very polite. Okay, take me to see Orochimaru first. Natsuki didn't take it seriously, but looked forward to Orochimaru. Itachi walked forward, taking Natsuki through the Sound Ninja village, and walked on the trail for a while. When we arrived at the call at the beginning of the mountain range, a cave had been opened there, and 2 ninjas were standing on the left and right of the door. These 2 ninjas also had chakra reactions at the Jonin level, but that's not the point. Shemu's previous guess was correct. There was no one whose name was left in the original story. Even if you join the Force template, you still won't get rewards. Natsuki's eyes narrowed slightly, and he suddenly thought whether Orochimaru had summoned the 4 sound ninjas. If so, he could probably make a profit. Itachi led Natsuki all the way inside. When Natsuki entered the cave, he found that the space inside was deep and large. I wonder if Orochimaru had hollowed out the entire mountain. Tap tap, tap tap, footsteps came from the front. Orochimaru appeared at the end of the passage. Orochimaru raised his hands and looked at Natsuki with bright eyes. Natsuki-kun, I have been waiting for you for a long time. A low, hoarse voice came. Yes, that's right, that's what it tastes like. Ding. Successfully recruited Orochimaru. Congratulations to the host for obtaining ninjutsu analysis ability. You can only get it by meeting. Everyone knows how talented Orochimaru is in ninjutsu. His ninjutsu analysis allows him to quickly learn and perfect ninjutsu. With this, learning ninjutsu will be faster in the future. Natsuki's face was full of smiles. Orochimaru, I have been looking forward to this meeting for a long time. Let's go, I'll take you to the laboratory. Orochimaru nodded with satisfaction and led the way. Natsuki and Itachi both followed behind. Orochimaru deliberately took 2 steps slowly and walked side by side with Natsuki. Natsuki-kun, the Chongwu and Xiang you asked Itachi to retrieve are really good seedlings. They give us many new ideas for our experiments. Chongwu's body has made great progress in the research on my curse seal. Orochimaru's mind was filled with his scientific experiments, and Natsuki quickly got into the mood. I think Chongwu's physique is naturally capable of attracting natural energy, and his curse seal is just a degraded sage mode. The true immortal mode should not lose people's minds. Orochimaru nodded. Natsuki-kun, which sage mode is better, Ruji Cave or Empty Mayaboku? Xiaomu shook his head. It depends on one's physical constitution. The frog immortal technique of Nyamu Mountain, the snake immortal technique of Ryuchi Cave, and the slug immortal technique of Shigu Forest are more suitable. Of course, in these 3 places, their immortal models are developed according to their own bodies. If we learn their immortal mode, we will end up with more or less characteristics of their race. Xiaomu paused for a moment. no one can tell whether the magic of the three holy places will affect the mind. If possible, I would like to try to create a human magic. Orochimaru nodded thoughtfully. He had been an orphan since he was a child, and he was also deeply involved in Ryuchi Cave during his growth. His series of ninjutsu are all snake ninjutsu, and even his own bloodline may be related to Ryuchi Cave, but this is not important. Orochimaru is a scientist. He has invented the secret method of reincarnation, and his body can be changed at will. Naturally, he will not stick to his own bloodline. Orochimaru has a very big picture and will not be limited to Ryuchi Cave and related snake research. If Longdi Dong's immortal mode really had a backdoor that would affect his mind, he would abandon Longdi Dong without hesitation. Although Orochimaru knows that his reincarnation has damaged his soul, it may be more difficult to practice immortal arts. While he was talking, Orochimaru had already brought Natsuki and Itachi into the laboratory. Lord Orochimaru. Brother Itachi. A little girl with red hair and glasses was stuffing a piece of rice cake into her mouth. Itachi nodded slightly and said to Xiang, "This is Natsuki-senpai, he is the one who asked me to go to Kusanagi village to rescue you." When Xiang saw Natsuki next to Orochimaru, his eyes lit up. Most of the Uchiha clan have good looks, but Natsuki is in his 20s and is much taller than Itachi. Did Xiang feel that his favorability level was full after just one look, or did he ask brother Itachi to save him? Xiang Phosphorus then called out sweetly, "Senior Natsuki." Natsuki smiled and nodded. Chapter 97 Xiang Phosphorus Chongwu. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At this time, the system prompt beeped, ding. Congratulations to the host for greatly changing Xiang Phosphorus's life trajectory. Congratulations to the host for getting King Kong Blockade X1. Ding. Recruiting fragrant phosphorus was successful. Congratulations to the host for obtaining physical healing. Oh ha, I have become an energy drink. Natsuki heard Goldfinger's voice. Prepare to bite yourself back and see if you can heal. Xiang Phosphorus, is there enough food? Orochimaru was a rare good-tempered person, and Karen was the only one allowed to eat in his laboratory. Because of the special constitution of Xiang Phosphorus, it needs to consume a lot of energy. This energy is not only chakra, but also life energy. Phosphorus can be replenished by eating a lot of food. And Orochimaru is very tolerant towards precious experimental subjects. He is physically and mentally healthy, and his cooperation with the experiment will save him a lot of unnecessary trouble, so whatever Xiang Phosphorus wanted to eat, Orochimaru would find someone to get it for him. After swallowing the rice cake in his mouth, Xiang said vaguely, "That's enough, Orochimaru-sama, I feel very full." For Xiang, following brother Itachi to Orochimaru was the most correct decision in his life. She and her mother had always been treated as tools in Kusakunin village, and her mother was even sucked to death. He has lived in fear and disgust for the grass ninja village since he was a child. Later, brother Itachi descended from the sky and told him to take him away from the grass ninja village. Xiang agreed without even thinking about it. Even if the place he went to was hell, it would be better than being in the grass ninja village. After Xiang Phosphorus came to Tian country, he found that it was a paradise. There are a lot of delicious food, and brother Itachi is also very generous, so he can eat whatever he wants. When Xiang met Orochimaru for the first time, he was still a little scared, but after getting along for a while, Xiang found that Orochimaru-sama was quite good. He would only let himself cooperate in doing some experiments. And he could eat as much as he wanted and sleep as much as he wanted every day. This kind of day is a dream. All of this, brother Itachi said, was what Natsuki-senpai asked him to do. Therefore, Xiang Phosphorus is very grateful to Senior Natsuki. Orochimaru led everyone to continue walking forward. There was a huge machine in front of it, with a pipe connected to the machine. Below is a child with orange hair and orange pupils, who is very strong. This must be Hyuga, he's really tall. I don't know what he ate to grow so tall. He should be around 12 or 13 years old now, and his height is already higher than Itachi's. He is about 1.7 meters tall, only half a head shorter than Orochimaru. Hyuga was also very happy to see everyone coming together. Master Orochimaru, brother Itachi, you are here. Looking at Natsuki casually, Natsuki had obvious Uchiha looks, but Hyuga had never seen him. Hyuga, this is Natsuki-senpai. Itachi introduced Hyuga. Hyuga bowed respectfully to Natsuki. Senior Natsuki, thank you for rescuing me. If you hadn't asked brother Itachi to rescue me here, I would still be able to kill someone. Natsuki looked at Chongwu with clear eyes and sighed in his heart. Chongwu was originally a person who loved nature and had a stable mind. As a result, due to the rampage, he could not control the urge to kill, which made Hyuga very painful. Ding. Congratulations to the host for greatly changing Zhongwu's life trajectory. Congratulations to the host for getting Cursed Seal Transformation X1. Ding. Recruiting Chongwu was successful. Congratulations to the host for obtaining Natural Affinity, Cursed Seal Transformation. I don't know what my Cursed Seal Transformation looks like. Another Natural Affinity. Xiang seemed to feel a special energy in the air. It seemed that the immortal mode was about to be put on the agenda. Natsuki smiled and said hello to Hyuga, then turned to Orochimaru and asked, how do you restrain his rage now? Orochimaru said, when he has excess natural energy, it will affect his mind. As long as his natural energy is drained away regularly, he will have no problem. Orochimaru touched Karen's head. Little Karen has a strong sense of perception. When Hyuga has more natural energy, just pull him over and give him a slap. Xiang Phosphorus showed a very proud expression. Orochimaru looked at the pipe behind Hyuga. Well, it's almost there. Upon hearing this, Chongwu immediately took off the tube behind him. People can also move freely. Natsuki was also happy for him when he saw that Hyuga did not have to go to jail. Then he said, I will introduce you to some friends. You should like them very much. Itachi, take Hyuga and Kaso to meet their new partners. Natsuki ordered. Itachi nodded and went out with Hyuga and Kaso. Hyuga was originally rescued by Kimimaro. After Kimimaro tied him up with bones, he made him a mental prison and madly recommended his boss Orochimaru. Now that he had been saved in advance, he didn't know whether he would be closer to Itachi or Kimimaro in the end. Why? It seemed that there was one person missing among their group, and Xiang suddenly couldn't remember. Forget it, there shouldn't be any drama anyway. Following Orochimaru into the secret study, the two sat opposite each other. Orochimaru told Natsuki about the progress of Itachi and Shiro. The eyes are independent of the immune system, and your Sharingan is affected by a hormone secreted by the brain, which will produce a large amount of escape chakra and evolve. But this is not perfect. The Sharingan only cares about evolution and does not care about whether the body's functions can withstand it, so the Mangekyo Uchiha will be blind. I have given Itachi and Shiro a drug that blocks this hormone. Now Itachi and Shiro's bodies will not be eroded by the release chakra, and Itachi's cell inflammatory response has also disappeared. But their pupil power will stop growing now. I plan to wait for their physical development before doing the next step of treatment. Although Natsuki doesn't understand the specific matters of research, his theoretical knowledge can provide Orochimaru with many arguments. How is the isolation of Hashirama's cells? Natsuki has not contacted Orochimaru in recent times, and does not know Orochimaru's specific progress. Orochimaru initially thought that Hashirama's cells could be injected directly, but Natsuki told him that Hashirama's cells were too strong-willed. If the yang escape chakra cannot be successfully separated, direct injection will most likely turn it into a tree. The yang release chakra at the cellular level is not easy to separate, and there are still many precious materials missing. However, Jiraiya came here once a month ago. Orochimaru told Natsuki about Jiraiya's coming. Natsuki narrowed his eyes and started thinking. When he told about the baby, he just casually laid a blame on Danzo. After all, Danzo already had so many pots and he didn't care about covering one more. Unexpectedly, the third Hokage had other thoughts. If there was no fourth generation and Orochimaru did not engage in dark research, would the third generation choose Orochimaru as Hokage? You know, Orochimaru did not join the terrorist organization Akatsuki in this world, nor did he assassinate the fourth Kazekage, nor did he plan for the collapse of Konoha. He is purely a scientific research otaku. As for defecting to do human experiments many years ago, that is all old history. This world is very cruel. This kind of thing happens in every ninja village, but outsiders don't know it. After all, Obito was still being washed, so Orochimaru's matter was nothing at all. Chapter 98 The Heart of the Past. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Tian Country, Sound Ninja Village. Itachi walked out with Xiang and Hyuga, but he found that Shisui was sparring with Kisame, but both of them were doing it casually. Shisui did not perform ninjutsu genjutsu, and Kisame did not use samahata, but instead used an ordinary sword to spar with Shisui in taijutsu. Shisui's movement is elegant, and he often appears in unexpected places to launch attacks. Every move Kisame makes is powerful and heavy. Although his body skills are not as good as Shisui's, he is extremely powerful between advancing and retreating. Ping! The sword on Shisui's hand was knocked away by Kisame's powerful and heavy attack. Shisui fell down and rubbed Dango's nose. You win, Kisame. Kisame's shark face grinned, and he turned his head to see a scratch on his shoulder. Of course he knew that if Shisui hadn't stopped just now, he would have been injured. The fruit of instant stasis is truly worthy of its reputation. He already kind of likes it here. Itachi brought Koro and Hyuga to everyone and introduced them one by one. Although Bai's face was much rosier, his body was still a little thin and his expression was timid, which immediately reminded Xiang Lu of his former self. She took out snacks from her bag and shared them with Bai. The two quickly became familiar with each other. It was the first time that Hyuga saw Kimimaro, but it was as if he had known this person for a long time, and he suddenly fell in love with him. My name is Chongwu. The land of rain. It was still raining in the sky, and Pain looked out the window with his hands behind his back. Xiaonan laid out the sacrifices and turned to look at Pain. Nagato, I'm going to take action. Ah. There was a hint of a different emotion in Pain's deep voice. Xiaonan gathered her thoughts and formed the seal carefully. He slapped his palm on the ground. The art of reincarnation from dirty soil. A dark wind blew in the sealed room, and the cries of countless ghosts could be heard. Hoo 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 hoo. A circle lit up around the living sacrifice on the ground, and countless talismans on the ground covered the living sacrifice. Ah, ah, ah. The unconscious living sacrifice woke up, and the severe pain made him let out a heartrending scream. The voice was as shrill as a ghost. Xiaonan couldn't help but take 2 steps back, and suddenly ran away from Pain. Pain had turned around and saw the talisman gradually dissipating, revealing the figure of Wei Tuatian Joju. After so many years, Jozuke is still wearing the same clothes as before. Except for the cracks of the dirty soil reincarnation, everything is the same as before. Jozuke's eyes slowly became brighter. Am I not dead? Then he saw Pain in front of him. Although he didn't know the situation yet, he still rushed over. That's great, brother. You're okay. Pain looked blank and allowed Jozuke to hug him. After a moment, Jozuke realized something was wrong. Yahiko in front of him was stiff and cold, with no heartbeat. What's going on, brother? What's wrong with you? Jozuke asked quickly, but when he looked up, he found Pain's samsara eyes. Jozuke sat down on the ground. Isn't this Nagato's reincarnation eye? What on earth is going on? A figure next to him walked up to him, and Jozuke raised his head, but it was discovered that it was Xiaonan. Xiaonan looked sad. Jozuke. When Jozuke saw Konan, his eyes seemed to light up. He stood up and took Konan's hand. Konan, what happened to brother? Am I dead? Where is Daibutsu, Nagato, and the other friends? When Konan heard Jayasuke's question, the figures of Yahiko's companions flashed in his mind. Xiaonan closed her eyes in pain. Jozuke, you, Dabutu, and other companions, are all dead. Yahiko is dead too. What's in front of you? I'm Nagato. Seemingly having finally collected his emotions, Pain spoke. Jozuke took 2 steps back and bumped into the window. Only then did he notice the cracks all over his body. Jozuke raised his hand and looked at it. Really? It seems that a lot of things happened after my death. Hatasuke sat cross-legged on the ground. That day when you went to negotiate with Hanzo, I received news from my companions at the Konoha border that the Konoha Umbu troops were heading towards Hanzo. I felt at the time that the timing was too coincidental, and Hanzo's words were a little too satisfactory. I suspected there was fraud, so I called my companions to support you. Unexpectedly, I was intercepted by 2 people on the way. One had a yin and yang face and 2 halves of aloe vera leaves on his body. The other one covered his face and called himself Madara Uchiha. That Uchiha Madara is blocking us from going over to support you. He said nonsense like trying to make you see reality clearly, and then the yin-yang face summoned a bunch of white monsters on the ground. The man who calls himself Uchiha Madara has a very strange jutsu. My attack went right through him, and then he stabbed me. I wanted to drag him to death with my secret skills, but I didn't expect that he escaped in the end. Jayasuk talked about everything before his death very easily. After learning that he was only resurrected for a short time, he quickly accepted it all. After all, resurrection from the dead is impossible, but neither Konan nor Nagato would tell him what happened to Yahiko and why Nagato used Yahiko's body. Konan couldn't help but ask, did the guy who called himself Uchiha Madara say anything else? Juzuk thought for a while and then said, I listened to him before I died. In order for Nagato to open the true samsara eye. There is no peace in this cursed world. Nagato should abandon his current ideals and set out for a new world. After saying this, Juzuk suddenly raised his head. Nagato, have you abandoned our ideal of peace? Pain was silent for a moment. No. I just changed my approach. We were too naive in the past. People only grow up after experiencing pain. He who does not know pain does not know what peace is. I will make the world peaceful in my own way. Pain said firmly. Jayasuk looked at Pain and felt that this Nagato was extremely strange. Nagato, although I don't know what happened to you, but the way you are now, isn't it just that you are following the wishes of Uchiha Madara? Pain's expression changed and he didn't speak for a long time. As Juzuk asked questions one after another, he remained silent. After a long moment, he shook his head. Xiaonan sighed. The dirty soil was reincarnated. Solution. Juzuk suddenly felt his body light up, and his soul was leaving this body. He couldn't help shouting, Nagato. Don't fall into the conspiracy. As a war orphan, in my life with no fixed place, Akatsuki is the first hope I see. Nagato. I will always remember that morning when the sun rose. Big Brother named our organization, Shao. He said, this country has been suffering from war and has been crying, so we have to be the dawn that changes the world. The sound became lower and lower until it was silent. Pain looked out the window and his chakra fluctuated violently. Xiaonan couldn't help but look over with worried eyes. Nagato. Pain's chakra stabilized, and he said coldly, let's go see Uchiha Natsuki, he must know more inside stories. Chapter 99. Do you want to be Hokage, Orochimaru? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Tian Country, Sound Ninja Village, Orochimaru Laboratory. In the original world, although the 5th Hokage was Tsunade, it was only when the 3rd generation died suddenly. Tsunade didn't want her grandfather's hard work to be ruined at the hands of Danzo, so she took over as the 5th Hokage. You must know that Tsunade does not have a good relationship with the village now. The death of Naoki and Dan was too childish back then. Natsuki didn't believe it if Danzo didn't interfere with it, but whether Danzo made the decision privately or in consultation with the 3rd generation is unknown. One of the Senju's heirs died, another suffered a mental breakdown, and the Senju clan went into hiding. The Sarutobi clan is powerful, and Danzo covets the position of Hokage. As far as the final beneficiaries are concerned, Danzo and the 3rd generation are both suspects. Natsuki smiled darkly. Orochimaru, do you want to be Hokage? Hokage. Orochimaru chewed on this sentence. He actually didn't have much obsession with Naruto, he was just resentful because the old man chose Minato instead of him. He, Orochimaru, was not better than Minato, yet he actually chose Minato to be the 4th generation. He wanted to prove that the old man's choice was wrong, and that he, Orochimaru, was the best. Now, Inin village has developed and grown. Although it cannot be called Inin by the name of the country like the 5 major countries, there is no problem in calling it Inin. However, except for the 5 major countries, no one in other small countries would recognize the shadows outside the village, so I have never heard of titles such as Taki Shadow, Grass Shadow, and Frost Shadow. Orochimaru no longer has any interest in being a shadow of a village. Truth is his lifelong pursuit. I have no interest in being Hokage. Orochimaru shook his head. Hey, Orochimaru, you're too shallow, your eyesight is too shallow. Natsuki shook his head and said. Tian country is so big, and the materials are not too rich. The precious materials that are very difficult for you to obtain are not too difficult for the Hokage. Jiraiya can only get the materials once. What if you are the Hokage? Orochimaru heard this and his brain started to work. Orochimaru was not stupid, it was just that he was obsessed with scientific research and sometimes didn't think about it. If he really became the fifth Hokage, the land of fire would be rich in land. There are also many secret books and secret medicines of the ninja clan, which can be obtained in Konoha village. After all, the land area of Tian country is not even 1/10 of the fire country. Whether it is people's livelihood or military, they are far behind the fire nation. What are your plans? Orochimaru is a very pragmatic person. He does whatever comes to his mind and immediately asked Natsuki about his plan. The talent in Konoha is withering now, and there are not many people who can inherit the position of Hokage. Apart from you, there are only Tsunade and Jiraiya who are considered to be members of the Hokage line. If the third Hokage doesn't want to let his power fall by the wayside, he won't find anyone else. Under the training of the third Hokage for many years, the Sarutobi clan developed a lot of ninjas, and the ninja clan's power was huge, but I'm sorry, there is no top combat power. Asuma, who he had high hopes for, is full of bones and cannot be used. Others who could succeed Hokage were either dead, ran away, or defected, so someone who is almost 70 years old is still in the position of Hokage. Natsuki did not include Kakashi at this time. Kakashi is still in the growth stage and is not yet ready for success. Jiraiya would not want to take over as Hokage. Orochimaru knew Jiraiya's character very well. Xiang chuckled, it's impossible even if he wants to. Orochimaru had long received the news that Natsuki had ruined Jiraiya's reputation, and he couldn't help but smile when he heard this. Then all that's left is Tsunade. Natsuki thought for a moment and asked, first of all, how did Nashu and Dan die back then? Orochimaru also knew the elegant meaning from the sound of strings, and a sarcastic smile appeared at the corner of Orochimaru's mouth. Now Shu is the sole heir of the Senju clan. Who will benefit the most after his death? How could a person of this status die in an accident? Natsuki nodded, Orochimaru's thoughts coincided with his. As for Kato Dan, his spiritual transformation technique is most useful for investigation. He just passed away suddenly after investigating for a period of time. Xiang smacked his lips twice. The insiders back then knew more. Kato Dan's spiritual transformation technique had made great contributions to Konoha, but the biggest weakness of the spiritual transformation technique was that the body was undefended during spiritual transformation. What should have been the most secret of whereabouts was exposed. Duan was attacked while using the magic of spiritual illusion, and died from his injuries. Orochimaru stuck out his tongue and twisted it. Only a few of us know about Dan's whereabouts back then. The other two people who know about it are the Sandaime and Danzo. Is it possible for the third generation? Xiang asked. Orochimaru shook his head, it's unlikely, but maybe he knew about it afterwards and helped cover it up. Tsunade was also aware of it, so she left the village. Although the mastermind of the matter was not the third Hokage, the third Hokage's many connivances with Danzo led to a serious brain drain in Konoha. It can be called a good example of a pair of good cards being played badly. Is Tsunade interested in the position of Hokage? Natsuki's impression of Tsunade only stayed in his memory. It was best to ask Tsunade's teammate Orochimaru about this kind of thing. Orochimaru chuckled and said, Tsunade is originally the princess of the Senju clan. She is also the granddaughter of the first generation. She has lacked everything since she was a child. She has no interest in Naruto at all. Of course, if Konoha village dies, she may still go back to be Hokage. It has to be said that Orochimaru also knows Tsunade very well. In the previous life, wasn't Tsunade the one who went back to become Hokage for this reason? Natsuki's eyes narrowed slightly. As long as you become Hokage to make Konoha stronger, Tsunadeheim probably won't steal it from you. The current Otoyan village is not the small village it was in the previous life. Although the land area of Tian country has not changed, its economy is developing the fastest. In terms of strength, more than 100 Uchiha became the mainstay of the Sound Ninja village during the most difficult time. Afterwards, the huge increase in the number of tasks also attracted many foreign ninjas to join us. He also has a certain say in the entire ninja world. But there is no formal ceremony in Sound Ninja village. There is a leader in the village, but there is no shadow. If the kingdom of Tian develops further, maybe we can have a ceremony. If the daimyo of Tano Kuni and the newly appointed Hokage support Orochimaru becoming Hokage, Orochimaru should have a good chance. Orochimaru of the Oto Ninja village has always been hidden behind the scenes, and the person who actually handles government affairs is Kabuto the Ikushi. Even though Kabuto is only about 20 years old, but Kabuto has made indelible contributions to the development of Otogakure village from a barren land at the beginning to its current situation. I have to say that Kabuto is really a talent and very capable. After Orochimaru started working as a technology geek, Kabuto has been a decision-maker on the front line for a long time, and he has taken care of everything in the village in an orderly manner. Now some people have begun to call Kabuto Iniing-sama, but there is no ceremony, so it is not considered formal. Next is Takuya, the third elder of Uchiha. The top combat powers are Itachi and Shiro. Next, Uchiha and Orochimaru recruit some talents. When so many Uchiha first came to the Sound Ninja village, many ninja villages were not optimistic and even thought that Uchiha would seize power, but in the end, everyone was fine. Uchiha did his tasks honestly, and even worked with the daimyo of Taiano Kuni to promote catering. According to rumors, the Uchiha with a particularly bad temper could still get along with each other normally despite being a little colder, which was very strange. If Kabuto was allowed to officially take over as the Sound Ninja, Orochimaru would just take it out and pretend that he is a collaborator with the Sound Ninja village. Orochimaru has a good relationship with the runaway Uchiha, and is also supported by the Taiano Kuni Sound Ninja village. External help is already in place. All he had to do was return to Konoha village and make some political achievements, and then his position as the fifth Hokage would be certain. As for what kind of political performance, there are many ways to manipulate it. Natsuki wanted to find Tsunade before. The complete medical system in Konoha village was all supported by Tsunade. If possible, Natsuki also wanted Tsunade to form such a medical team for Uchiha. Now there was one more reason to find her. What? Tsunade doesn't agree. Uchiha is now so poor that all he has left is money, and he has not yet come up with his own development funds. I have to smash Tsunade back to Uchiha. After a brief communication with Orochimaru, Orochimaru also expressed his intention to cooperate with Natsuki. Although the fourth Hokage is not himself, it would not be bad if the fifth Hokage were himself. After roughly finalizing it, Natsuki brought the topic back to the Sharingan. Chapter 100 Research on Kaleidoscope. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Tian Country, Sound Ninja Village. Natsuki previously gave Orochimaru the direction of his research, the evolution of the Sharingan, from Magatama to ordinary kaleidoscope. They are the continuous improvement of Yin escape chakra. The Eternal Kaleidoscope may be to complement the genes in the body so that the body can withstand the kaleidoscope's return to its ancestors. This will prevent continued damage to your eyes during use, but now that Natsuki has achieved the Eternal Kaleidoscope, it is like skipping this step directly. He needed to let Orochimaru see how the Eternal Kaleidoscope without the complementing gene was produced. Although the golden finger helped me to create the Eternal Kaleidoscope with my own eyes, it is also good to be able to help the experiment to a certain extent. When Orochimaru learned that Natsuki was already an Eternal Kaleidoscope, he found it completely unbelievable. But since Natsuki can even predict the future, it is normal to have some special things. Immediately, he took Natsuki to do many examinations, including Susanu's kaleidoscope and two kinds of pupil techniques. Now Natsuki's Susanoo can be enlarged to a maximum of 100 meters, and it is still growing. The weapon-strengthening pupil technique, Amazon Cloud style, has an attack power that even Orochimaru was amazed by. It's actually possible to forcibly erase the space. The place where it was cut will instantly turn into nothingness. When Orochimaru heard the name of this pupil technique, he had a strange look on his face, then he opened his mouth and spit out a sharp sword. Kusanagi sword. Natsuki raised an eyebrow. Why? The Kusanagi sword seems to be the Amazusa unsword. However, the Kusanagi sword in this world is not a certain sword. but a style of sword. Natsuki's Amanashi cloud style is completely a polymer of pupil technique mixed with chakra, which is attached to Susanna's weapon. Orochimaru also has more than one Kusanagi sword. Orochimaru has the art of Yamada no Orochi, and the Kusanagi sword is the weapon of Yamada no Orochi. In the myth, every Kusanagi sword of Yamada no Orochi is a snake. It can also be said that Orochimaru's Kusanagi sword is unlimited, but there should only be a few sharp ones. Just in time, I just happened to bring back a gift for my apprentice. Orochimaru gave me the entire Kusanagi sword. Xiaomu and people he knew well would not be polite and would directly ask for it. Orochimaru didn't care. He opened his mouth again and spit out a Kusanagi sword. This sword should be enough for little Sasuke. Orochimaru raised a smile on his lips. After all, he has such a good relationship with Itachi, a precious experimental subject, and as an elder, there is no problem in giving Sasuke a sword. Natsuki fastened the Kusanagi sword to his waist and prepared for today's experiment. Xiaomu's second pupil technique is called Suzanwa Zunzai. There is only one enhanced ability to observe. After increasing the pupil power, the space will continue to become clearer, but it got blurry towards the end. Xiaomu has never encountered an opponent who needs to fight at high speed, so he almost never uses the eye of Suzanwa Zun. After all, it consumes a lot of energy. Just in time, Orochimaru was about to test how long it would take for Natsuki's Eternal Eye to recover when its pupil power is exhausted. This pupil technique is the most suitable. This time, I am going to use all my pupil power to inject it into the eyes of Suzanwa Zun. As soon as Xiaomu's Eternal Kaleidoscope was opened, his aura suddenly changed. Xiaomu looked at the scenery in the distance, constantly injecting pupil power into his eyes. My vision keeps getting clearer, but after a certain point, it starts to get blurry. Has it reached its limit? Natsuki thought with a frown. Xiaomu simply continued to input pupil power. At this time, the whole world seemed to have opened up, and the blurry scenery suddenly changed to another look. Bang! Orochimaru used the storage scroll nearby, not knowing what he was getting. Xiaomu was very confused. Bang! Orochimaru used the psychic technique beside him to see if there was any news as usual. Xiaomu followed the sound and found that a space channel appeared in the space where the psychic technique was. Looking along the space passage, there were many snakes in that place. A large white-scaled snake in a temple suddenly looked over. His appearance was reflected under the huge snake eyes. Xiaomu suddenly woke up. This pupil technique was actually able to see through different spaces and trace the coordinates of space. Longdi Cave. The white snake immortal moved the pipe he was holding, who was peeking into Longdi Cave just now. The white snake immortal calculated silently and found that the future scene turned out to be chaos. This pupil technique can see through different spaces and trace the coordinates of space. Hearing Natsuki's introduction, Orochimaru was also amazed. The ability to trace spatial coordinates was completely useless in low-level battles. It has a huge advantage when facing time and space ninjutsu. The most famous time and space ninjutsu is the Flying Thunder God technique. Flying Thunder God requires 2 steps. First, the Flying Thunder God technique determines the coordinates, and second, flies over. If you fight Natsuki, Natsuki can locate the location of the next Flying Thunder God based on a coordinate. There is no need to specifically look for the Flying Thunder God's technique. What Natsuki was thinking about was Obito's divine power. In the past, Natsuki thought that he only had the ability to break his divine power, but now, the coordinate points corresponding to the Kamui space in the present world can be seen, and Obito has no place to hide. A few days have passed, and Orochimaru's analysis of Natsuki's Sharingan has come out. Their previous conjecture was that the Sharingan in release and in release were superimposed, were related by blood, and overlapped with each other at the genetic level. After completing the deficiencies in the bloodline and completing an evolution of the bloodline, the Eternal Eye was created. Natsuki's Eternal Eye is a qualitative change that is naturally formed due to the extremely powerful pupils. It's like the space in a container is limited, and you pour unlimited water into it. As long as the container is hard enough, the water will naturally be compressed. As for why Natsuki's container is so strong, Orochimaru has not yet studied it. Natsuki's method of achieving the Eternal Eye opened up a new way of thinking for Orochimaru. Now Shirsue's eyes have a second way to evolve into the Eternal Eye. However, Natsuki and Orochimaru still need to discuss whether the Eternal Eye has the possibility of evolving. At this time, Natsuki also fully informed Otsutsuki and the subsequent reincarnations of Indra and Asura, because now there is only one pair of samsara eyes in the ninja world, and it is in the hands of Nagato, so there is no reference. Without the participation of Indra Chakra, it is still unknown whether the Sharingan can evolve into the Rinnegan. Since there is no clue about the samsara, let's just put it down for now. If Indra's chakra is a necessary condition, then only Sasuke can successfully evolve the samsara eye. If this is the case, then the relationship between the Eternal Eye and the samsara eye cannot be regarded as a class relationship. The samsara eye is a variant of the Eternal Eye.